to tell us how this could work. Linda, good evening. Thanks for your time. So what's needed to make this possible, to have people working from home, whether it's temporary or long-term?
So in order for people to work remotely, it's really important that they have the tech set up, that they've got a decent wireless or Wi-Fi connection at home, and that they've got programs such as Zoom, Teams, Skype, even WhatsApp in desperate situations people can use for video calls. And it's people learning to adapt to doing a conference call instead of getting on an aeroplane or coming to the office.
Okay, so who would qualify at the moment? We're talking corona specifically. I know from colleagues who say that they know of people who have, if they've been traveling, then they're required to work from home just for a couple of weeks at least, which is obviously a temporary measure. So who would we look at to be put into this situation to work like this?
I think we're going to have a number of different situations. We're going to have people that have already travelled, and I think it's up to employees to be responsible. If they have been to zones or they have been exposed, they need to put up their hands and actually stay home, or if they've been exposed to people that have contracted the virus. And then we're going to have offices that are going to be infected, and I would imagine are going to be shut down.
Yeah.
And those people are going to have to work at home for a few weeks until it's cleared.
And I mean, if we look at the number of contact cases already, I mean, you know, people who knew people who didn't travel to Italy and came into contact with them, it's been over a week now, so you never know who that.
And we're going to have schools closed. So if your children are at a school that are closed, what do? You can't go to the office, you've got to work from home.
Yeah, because you now come into contact with kids who possibly... It's just a snowball effect.
Correct.
As well. So should this have an impact on, hours that you work? Should it have an impact on salary at all, or that doesn't matter?
I think the international companies have certainly said they're going to keep paying, and I think it's wonderful for companies to do that, and certainly we would have that belief, but not every company is going to be able to continue. If it gets into factories, for instance, what do people do? So it does have a snowball effect, and we do need to take cognizance of it. And I think that's why it's so important for people to take preventative measures. All of our clients we supply with antibacterial desks or chairs with what we call an Okotex standard fabric, where germs can't sit on it, mildew can't, you wipe them clean. I see some companies are putting an egg timer in, that every 30 minutes it goes, and staff must go wash their hands.
Goodness, can you imagine everyone rushing to the bathroom at the same time?
They say those are the best preventative measures.
Yeah.
But we are going to have people that can't come to work, and everyone needs to earn their salary.
Yeah. Okay, and working from home at the best of times can be very distracting. First there's the snack cupboard, then there's the TV, then there's the dog, then there's the kids, and the neighbours and all of that. So what kind of discipline would you need if you were going to be put in this way, have to work from home at some point?
Well, studies have shown people really like to work at home one day a week. That's when they're at their absolute best. So it is going to be about discipline. And I think because you're going to find a number of people working from home, people still need to collaborate. You can never stop people needing to connect with one another. So you will find people working the work hours that they have to, from 8 to 5.
So you mentioned, Linda, that we actually need certain infrastructure to be in place to do that. How do we fare on that front in South Africa? How many, off the top of your head, if you have to, without naming them, how many companies are actually equipped?
Not many, because how many people are on an iPad or a laptop that can work from home? How many people have a connection at home that they can connect to their server? They're not many. So we haven't put that in place. If I look at the companies we do, and we probably do 80 to 100 a year, if there are 2 or 3 of them that have remote workers on a permanent basis, I would say that it's a lot.
And now we've got load shedding as well on the way back, so that's going to make things difficult, especially when it comes to internet and
charging your cell phone.
Even getting a connection is going to be a problem.
Correct. So it's one crisis upon another, and it's not one that we prepared for. So I think also based on that, there are other contingencies that people can make to also allow your staff, if they can't go to the office, to use a shared facility. We use a facility such as Future Space, which has a Zoom connection throughout. So for people that can't attend conferences or need to do big conference calls, they're huge meeting rooms with big screen TVs, top links to all over the world. You can dial in with 79 different people at once. So I think you need to provide those flexible solutions to staff as well.
Okay, so that's very interesting. I didn't know there was such a space that existed. So, but in a case like this, that wouldn't be ideal because you wouldn't want to
still with other people.
You're still going to be with other people. Okay, so if somebody wants to plan for this, just a list of the things you're going to need. If somebody wants, if this is the way of the future for them, for an individual.
For remote working?
Yes.
I think it's very important that people know what their job actually is and what is expected of them and their deliveries. They obviously need to be able to dial into the office, and they need to be able to connect with people at all times.
Also.
Completely.
I'd fail. Be awful.
I think most people would, unfortunately.
Yeah.
If I look at our office, and we are very tech savvy, we need to work as teams, and there's certain equipment that has to be at the office.
Yeah.
So it is really difficult. If you're more of a consulting role, it is different. You can put your AirPods in at any time, connect with your phone, be on a train, be on a tube, and be able to have a meeting. But we're not used to functioning like that.
Yeah, and we have to have the discipline. Okay, it's doable if you have the infrastructure and the discipline, and you can be good about it, and you can be more productive as well.
Correct.
All right, thanks so much there. And Linda Trim just talking to us about remote working, which could work for some, especially now when we're dealing with coronavirus.